Hi folks, so this question here is based on the topic of axonometric projection, and this is actually for the junior cycle. It is the junior cycle 2019 question, so it's actually coming from the old junior cert course. Okay, this is the question 3 in the section B of the paper, which were the long answer questions. So you can see here it says question 3, the axonometric axes required for the isometric projection of a petrol pump are shown. What they mean by that is the axonometric axes are these three lines here. We usually have the y-axis here. In this case, I assume this is the x and this is the z. X and z are interchangeable. And essentially what it says is the elevation, end view or end elevation, and the 3D graphic of the pump are also shown. This one here would be our elevation. Okay, just put that there. And this one over here will be our end elevation. I'm just going to put in E dot E for that one. So our elevation will be in this direction. Let's say we called it arrow A, and our end elevation will be in this direction. Let's call it arrow B. Okay, so essentially arrow A is what we see here. Okay, where we see this base, this base, this base, and we see the, I suppose, the circular portion. Arrow B, we see this base, this base, this base, maybe a bit to the other side, and we'd see the circle as a rectangle over here. What we have to do for part A is we have to draw part 1, an axonometric axis as shown, y, z, and x. Then we have to draw the given elevation inclined at 15 degrees. So we draw this one first, then draw the given end elevation inclined at 15 degrees over here, and then draw the completed axonometric projection, which is going to be this guy here, inside in here. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. Starting off by putting in our y, our z, and our x axis. So on our sheet, we want to pick an appropriate place to be able to draw it. So based on the drawing, if you actually look here, we don't need the base part. So I can actually keep this point here in the center, right in the middle. It's usually called the origin if you relate it to orthographic, or sorry, to working in CAD or SolidWorks, that point there. So I'm going to pick that point, not in the middle, but I'm going to go about up here. I think that should be absolutely fine, right there. So that's going to be my origin. Now from there, I want to do a vertical line to do my y-axis. I want to do a line down at 30 degrees to the left to do, in this case, my z, and a line at 30 degrees to the right to do my x. So there's my x-axis, my z, and my y. Now what I want to do is I want to set up this 90 degree axis line here, or sorry, I should say 90 degree lines here, where this one, as you can see, is inclined at 15 degrees, and this one here is perpendicular to it, so it's going down at 15 degrees. But really that line there, if we take 15 away from the vertical line, which might be inclined at 90, let's say, 90 minus 15, that line is at 75 degrees. So we're going to use a little method there to get that line and then this line as well. Okay, so from our z-axis, we're going to continue out the z-axis. I'm going to use a different pen now for my construction lines, a red pen. So continue it out there. It does not matter how long it goes out. What I usually do then is I pick the start point on the drawing, this point right here. Okay, you can see they have theirs quite close. I'm going to put mine a little bit further out. So there's maybe, if you based on proportions around here, I'm going to put mine a little bit further out, but not too far out either. So there's there. I'm going to put mine about here. Okay, so based on that, what I want to do is I want to get a line that is at an angle. This line here is at an angle of 75 degrees. So there's a little method we can use for that. If you use two set squares together, a 30, 60 degree set square, with the 30 degree set square sitting down like this on your t-square, and then get your 45 degree set square and put it sitting on top of the 30, 45 plus 30, two angles added together equals 75. So use these by sliding across like this, and then when it gets to the point that you want to start from, that line is now inclined at 75 degrees. If I rotate the 45 degree set square like this, always drawing with the long edge of the 45 degree set square, the hypotenuse side, if I rotate it like this, I can now get 15 degrees. So I can simply either slide it down or just move my t-square and set square down, like that. When I get to the point, I can do my horizontal line. Okay, now that's how I set it up on this side. Okay, It's the opposite for the other side, which we'll get onto in a minute. Now this point here is a point view of my z-axis. Up here technically is, I suppose, my y, and going out here would be my x. So using the measurements that are supplied to us, I can see it goes out 40 and out 10. Just zoom in there so we can see it a bit better. So it goes out 40 and out 10. Then it goes up 30, up 30, up 30, and they do not tell us the height of this kind of circular portion here, just tells us the radius, or it does give us a center point, and we have a point here as well to get the radius. And then the distance from here to here is out 70. So on my sheet, I'm going to put in all of that information. So using my set square, I'm going to measure out 40, and then another 10, and then I'm going to put in all the heights. I think they were 90, going up in 30s. So 30, plus another 30, and plus another 30. Now using my set squares, once again, like this, and I just slide them across to get the vertical line. I don't actually need a vertical line on that one, so I actually just need these lines going like this. Slide them down a little bit, so just remember set squares like this will get you 15 degrees. I'm just moving my t-square down, so I'm going to do a horizontal line there. And look, you can see kind of how I have it set up like this. I can slide it along now. So here's the next height, that's the height of 60. And finally, 70, or sorry, 90 I should say. And from that line there, just extend this one a little bit further, just make sure I'm 100% accurate. And from this point right here, I want to measure a distance of 70 millimeters. Okay, there's my 70. Now, at that point there, that 70, which is out here, connects down to the 50 mark here. So, I'll connect this down. And what's important to note is that the line just inside that, after I've got this one, the line inside that is parallel. So, a bit of sliding set squares here now. So, off of this line here, put your set square on it. Here's the other one behind it. Sliding set squares, and I've now got the majority of that completed. So I'm going to heavy in all the relevant lines now. And heavy in this portion as well. All of that, maybe in this, and the bit that I'm missing then, and this is important, zoom in here, we have to find this center point. Just zoom out so we can see it a bit better. So that center point there is right here. Now it just tells us that the radius of this circle is r, it doesn't tell us the actual radius, but if I can find a point on my drawing that's on the circumference, and I have this one here, you can see the arc of the circle, or the circumference of the circle touches this point here, so that means my radius is from here to here, which is right there. So using my compass, center point that I've now found, pencil point out to here, I can now draw in that. Okay, so there we have it. That there is the elevation view completed. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to come over here and draw in the end elevation. So, same principles are going to apply. I'm now going to project out parallel to my x-axis. So from the x-axis, which is at 30 degrees, I'm going to extend that out. Same principle. What I usually do is I pick a distance similar enough to what I did here. So from the Z, I'll just kind of follow with my pen like that over to here. And now what I want to do is I want a line, and you'll see here a 90-degree angle inside here once again. And you can see once again that 15 degrees. But remember, 90 take 15. That line there is going to be at 75 degrees. Okay, so same principle. Using the 30, 60-degree set square like this, and the 45 sitting like that, the two angles added together will equal 75. So if I just move them slightly across like that, both together, until I get it into position, That will give me the vertical line going in this direction. And then to get the 15-degree line, all I do is rotate this one. You might have to move the two set squares down with the t-square until you get it into position. When it's in position, that line will go there, like that. So there we have it. Now, once again, follow it. This is a point view of the x-axis. This technically will be my y, and this is my z. So all the distances out here, I'm going to take them from the drawing. So I have a distance out here of 30 millimeters, which is broken up into 10 by 10 by 10. What are the heights here? It doesn't tell us here, but it does tell us over here. So the height for this section is the same as this, which is 30. 30 in here, and 30 here. And then it does not tell us the height for here, but we can figure out the height by taking that bit up there on our compass in a minute. Because the height of this, which is the circular portion, if I was to just put that bit in there, that's actually this guy when we're looking in this direction at it, because we only see that portion there, and we'll see it as a rectangle. Okay, so the height from there up to there is going to be the height from here up to here. Okay, so that's what I want to apply to my drawing. So using those measurements, 3 10s, 10, so there's my 30, and now I'm going to mark up those distances as well, starting with the 3 30s first of all. So there's 6, 3, 0. And now using the same principles that I've just learnt, so there's that one there together, 30, 60 degrees set square. So this one's actually going to go, I'm going to extend this one a little bit higher, because that's the one that's going to contain the circular portion. This one only needs to go up to about here. And then if I rotate this one on the set square, I can now go horizontal. I should say inclined at 15 degrees. There we go. Now once again, heavy in what's relevant. There's a lot of effort in this in just setting up before we get onto the 3D portion. In here, I think there's hidden detail in there. And then finally, heavy in this and this. Now we'll go a touch higher. Just don't know how far just yet because I haven't measured. So I'll go up a little bit higher. So on my drawing, I will now take the radius of this guy, that distance there, and I'll step it up here and here. And there we go. That there is now the end elevation completed. So what we have to do left on this drawing is, inside in this section, in here in the middle, we're going to have to be able to complete this object. So let's look at the object and break it down. So based on the object here, probably zoom out a little bit there, sorry. Looking at the object, it's kind of broken into 4 portions. We have the base, the middle section, the top section, and then we have the circular portion. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to imagine that this circular portion, I'm going to leave that right till the end. And I'm going to build it up in such a way that I start with maybe, I might actually start with the top portion. I'll start with the bottom and work my way up. It makes more sense to start with the base and work your way up to the top. So on the base, how many points have I got? I've got a point here, 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 there. So then 4 to front, and this one back here as well. Okay, so I've actually got 6 points there. So if I was to give those letters, I'll call it A, B, C, D, E, and F. And F joins down to A. Now I know there's points in here on that as well, but that's, I suppose, technically part of the next section. So I want to find those. F to A, E to B, D to C, and obviously B connects C, E to D, E to F, and B to A, and so on. Okay, so if I want to find those, if I want to label those on my objects. So, based over here, if I look at it, well, where's A? A is right down here at the corner. There's A. Where's B? B is at this corner. And where's C? Technically, when I'm looking in the direction of A, in the direction of arrow A, I should say in this case, for the elevation, C is actually behind B. So I'll do B, comma C there. Okay? So I have to move there, guys. The lights are going out. Apologies. Now, I want to find the next set of letters. Same principle. What's above A is F. Put it out here. Then what's above B is E. And same principle, behind E is D. Now, I found them in the elevation. I need to now find all those points over here. So now I'm looking in the direction of arrow B. So I'm technically seeing this face. So in the direction of arrow B, B is actually here in the corner. Then I've also got C over here. What's above B is E. What's above C is D. So the letters I'm missing are A and F. Technically, when I'm looking in the direction of arrow B, behind B is A. So I'll do A, comma B. And behind E is F. So I'll do E, comma F up there. Okay, so using that principle, not going to do it for the whole problem, but using that concept, we're going to complete the drawing. So if I want to find any points on this drawing, I'm going to project down. Look, A and B will come down at 30 degrees. C and X, or I should say C is already brought down. E and F will have to be brought down as well. Along there. And finally D. Okay, now somewhere along all those lines is those points. To find them exactly, well, A has already been brought down. So watch, where A is here and A is over here. That's my point A. Now if I want to find B and C in this case actually, B and C from this view will come over here. So where's B? Follow it down. That's my point B. And where's C? This is my point C. Should be right there. A little bit of inaccuracy there, apologies. Now, on the next one, I want to find D and D. So there is, I'm just checking there, that is point number E. Yep. Just put that in. And then this will be D. And I need point number F then as well. So you can see the principle that we're using here, just a simple mapping process. And then technically, that is point number F. So, A connects to F in a vertical line. They should meet vertically, and they do. B connects to A. F connects to E. B connects to E. So that's kind of a slanted line. D connects to E. C connects to B. And then finally, now they should be parallel. So I usually use that as kind of a guide. I'll connect them up like that. There you go. That there is the portion of the base. Now, technically that base has a top, which would actually be here. I'm not going to heavy that in, because if we look at the object, there's something else that has to go inside here. Okay, so the next 3 points I'm trying to find are this one, and this one. And then I'll be able to heavy in a portion of it. I'll be able to heavy in that bit, and all there. Just to give me the guide of it. Okay, so there are the next points I want to find. So, what do I have to do to find those points? Well, locate them in your views. So these two will come down. And then this one has already been brought down. I now need to bring down this one. So there we have it. That one's going to cross through there. And here. And at this point, this one is actually going to go up vertically. Not sure exactly how far just yet, so I'll just bring it up a little bit to give the object a little bit of a guide. This one here at the back, I'm just going to extend it out to about there. Okay, now what I want to do for the next bit is I nearly want to imagine, because this bit is sitting on top of this middle portion, there's actually, if you imagine that middle portion would kind of come in something there like that. Okay, I want to find that top surface there. Okay, so how do I find that top surface before, even though I don't see it, it's just going to help me kind of give me a guide. So, especially for these lines here. So with that top portion, that's going to be where this point and this point are. So what do I do with those? I'm going to have to project them down at 30 degrees. There and there. Apologies. Should have zoomed out there, apologies. So what I was saying there was, this point and this point is that top portion in my end elevation. So I brought those two down. Now, where they are in this view, over here is here and here. So at that point right there, bring that across, this point right here, this across. So there's that one. Probably shouldn't have heavied it in fully there. Apologies for that. Go back and I'll fix that in a minute. I'm slightly ahead of myself. Now, what that has done is it has given me a guide on where that top surface goes to. What I meant to do with that one over there was only maybe heavy in this much of it, just to give us a guide. And you can actually see the object there would be like this. That's that middle portion. Now what I want to get onto, okay, is the top portion, and I'll use a little bit of Tipex on that in a minute, just to kind of fix that in a second. But I'm onto that next top portion section, which is going to look like this one down here, only sitting on top of this one. So that's made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 points there, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points here. So let's build that now. So those 4 points is in this view here. I'll bring this one down. This one, that one there will actually come to the front as well. How did I think of it? And then this one. Now all of those 4 points need to be projected down here as well. So just find those, start to give me a guide. First two, just using this as a guide. So it's going to be where it meets there. Yeah, there's one. And the next one is going to be here. And where that is going to meet at the back, it's probably going to be from here out, yeah. There we go. Okay. I can heavy in a bit and you'll see where I just made my slider, and I'll fix it in a second. That's as far as I should have heavied, right there. Now I'm going to heavy in. I won't heavy in fully actually, because there'll be a bit of a curve going in there. Let's get my Tipex and fix that now that I've found the slider. So what I should have done was, make sure this is working, yeah. There we go. So as I said previously, there we go. And put that in as a construction line there. Okay, so that's that little bit fixed. I've made the slider. Now I want to continue building that block. I found those 3 points. Now I need to find the top 3 points. So this one and this one also need to be projected down. So at this point up here, and at this point here. Now I need to find those, and they're coming from here. So I think I found one. Just make sure I have the right one. Yeah, I think it's right there. Got that one there. Inaccuracy. Slight. Got another one here. And another one here. So this one, that's actually okay, sorry. I was reading off the wrong one. So that one's good. Heavy in that. Pretty sure I can heavy in this one. This guy down to here. Now it'll tell me how far I can heavy this one up to. And I think I can heavy this one up to here as well. Okay. Then I've got this guy to here, which I'm not going to heavy in just yet. This one to here, which I'll leave lighter. And there's that section at the back. And you can see the objects starting to take shape there, okay? So what we're kind of missing now, and all that's missing, and this is I suppose the hard part of the question, is this curved portion. So if I just zoom in here, we're essentially missing this line here this curve to here, and then this line here. Then we'll have a back curve as well. Before we do the back curve, we have to do that line, and then the front curve. So let's find those anyway, first of all. So where the front of it is, it's going to come down here. So that's the front portion. And then the top one is going to be right there. Along there somewhere. And I should probably use this one here as a guide as well. There we go. So, I'm heavy in, just so I can get my bearings. That one there. And then this one down to here. Okay, so that's that little bit there. That's a tricky little question from the old junior cert. But what we have to do now, I should have zoomed out there, guys, sorry. So I brought down this point here to help me get that line there, and this point to find where it started. So I got that one, and then at the bottom portion I followed this one down to here, and I connected them up. So now what we have to do is we have to get that curve. So what we're going to do to get that curve, usually in orthographic projection we'd split it up into 30-60, but when it's at an angle, what I often like to use is cuts, okay, or horizontal and vertical measurements. So from the center point, I'm going to go parallel to that line there, just using sliding set squares. From the center point, just so I have something to reference it from. Now, on this line here, which is going vertical, just check that it's parallel to that, I want to be sure. I think I might have slightly moved. I'm not sure. Sorry there now, folks. Want to be certain when you're doing things like this. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's fine. Now, I'm going to check the radius of this, and you can actually see it's working out to be 30 millimeters. So I'm actually quite happy with that. So I'm going to use cuts of 10 millimeters. So I'm going to go from the top. I'm going to go down 10, 20. I've got 30, obviously. Then from the 30, I'm going to go down as far as the 40. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's my 40. And then the 50 as well. And obviously then down to the bottom would be the 60. So where I have those cuts, I've measured down 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm going to now go parallel to my ZX line. So I can use any one of these ones up here. So I'm going to use sliding set squares now. So I'm going to do horizontal cut like this, all the way out until it hits cuts circumference of the circle. Extend this one out, and I've got this one, and this one. Okay, if I was to number those, I'm going to give this one, I'm going to call it number 0. I'm going to call this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top one 6, 7, 8, and 9. Have I found any points yet? Just yet? I have. I've 0 already found, and I've the 9 found. Okay. If I want to number them over here, I have to take the distances down as well. So remember, it's this face that we're seeing first. So measuring down in tens. 10, 20, 30 is done already. There's the 40. And there's the 50. Okay, so using that principle, same measurements, starting at the bottom. I'm going to say I've got 0, 1, 2, 3 is there, 4, 5, 6, then going at the back, 7, 8, and 9. So to find all of those, I'm going to follow the same rules that we use down here, 30 degrees from both directions. 0 has been found, so I want to find number 1. So from the number 1 point, I'll bring that down. I'll bring this down from over here. Just want to find it exactly. So there's number 1. You can see it comes out quite far. Don't be deceived. Trust what you're doing. So this 1 seems to come out here. It looks like it'll come out here and then up. Now we want to do the same with number 2. Luckily for me, I think I have the 2 already brought down yet. So I want to bring the 2 down from here. So it's the one above the number 1. Pretty sure that's my number 2. Yep, happy with that. And just make sure I have the right number 1. My apologies there, guys. See, this is where you can make a mistake at times. So there's the number 2. Yeah. And I just want to be sure. Yeah, that's fine. So it's number 2 there. So I was right. Now I'm on to number 3. 3 is already brought down. It was in line with the 9. So what do I need to do over here? Bring down the 3. And then extend it out from over here. So you can see it was coming from there. Extend it out. If I follow it down, that's where the 3 is. So you can see it's going to come out here. So I have to move there again, guys, sorry. So I've got the 3 now. So you can see here, it's kind of going out. And I think that's the 3, just to be sure. Yeah, there's my 3. That's where I went wrong. Apologies, that was my 1. I knew I was looking something a little bit funny. There we go. As you can see there, that's looking better now. So there's the 1, up to the 2, up to the 3. I knew I was looking a little bit funny there. So just be careful. You can see how it can even confuse me. There's the number 4. So bring down the number 4. Down there somewhere. Project down the 4 here. As you can see here, I'm going to go a little bit quicker now. I'll just line them all up. Number 5 and number 7. Number 6 at the top. Okay, so now I want to find number 4, first of all. So number 4 comes down along this line. So there's number 4. Now I want to find number 5. 5 is along this line. Yeah, there's number 5. Want to find number 6. Continue the sequence. You can see them as you go along. You probably get a little bit quicker. So there's number 6. Want to find number 7, which is on the same line as number 5. So there's number 7. And then finally I want to find number 8, which is on the same line as number 4. Okay, so there we have it. As best you can, you're going to sketch in that curve, which would have looked incorrect had I not found my mistake with number 1 previously. 5, down to 4, and on to 3. Yeah, that's looking a lot better there. So now that I have the curve, I'm going to heavy it in. And you can see here where I was going previously would have brought me way out. Okay. So that's the front portion. You can heavy in portions of this now. Probably get the back edge heavied in. We get this edge heavied in as well. Okay, so that's the front curve. Okay, you can see we're missing a little bit in here. I now actually have to get the back curve as well, because if you remember, on the object we have 2 curves. We got this curve as well out the back. Now that I have the front one, I can find the back one quite easily. Okay, So the best way to actually do this is I've actually got a width here. Okay, now that width, just thinking there, when I measure that width, I won't, what I'll do is I'll actually project down the points. I'm just thinking, when I measure them out, so that won't meet at, yeah, just to be certain. Okay, so what I'm going to do is from the 5 and the 7 and so on, I'm just going to use a little bit of sliding set get extra points over here on the opposite side. So parallel, so from the number 1, let's do a line across, like we did with our cuts. That one's already done for me. From the 4 and 8, from the 5 and 7, and then obviously the top one is done. So the points I'm going to have to use are here, 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 and here. Now you can see the lines have already been brought down, which is really helpful to me. The only one that I'm actually missing is the topmost one. Because you can see here where the 1 went through here, where the 2 goes through, and so on. The top one is the only one I'm missing. So that distance right there will give me the topmost point. Okay, so I'm just going to use that sequence. I don't actually have to use the lettering again. So this one is going to be this next one down from the back of it, which is going to line up with the number 7 one. It's going to be right there. So that's another point I have. If I was to find the next one down, which would be the number 8 one, which would be in here, but I'm not going to see that. Then I'd probably have another one down here. Yeah, there'll be the number 9. I'll get all the points just to show you where it is. So that's the portion of my back portion of the curve. Now what I want to find is, I found the 6. I want to find essentially the opposite one opposite the 5. So if I continue that on, that's going to be over here. That's the one opposite the 5. Now I want to find the one opposite the 4, which is most likely going to be this one. Yep. I want to find the one opposite the 3, which is going to be this one, next one down. If I follow that down, yep, that's going to be there. I want to find the next one now that is going to be opposite the 2. Yeah, it's going to be right here. I'm be sure that one, I'll just check. Yeah, that one's good. And then the one that's going to be opposite the number 1, which is in there. Let's send that one out a little bit further. And there's the 1. And then finally, the last one is going to be down in here. Yep. So, just to give you an idea of the curve, once again, I'll sketch it in lightly, heavy in the important bits. So that's that portion. It was quite a tricky question. And that'll go in there, like that. Now, the only bits that we're going to see is these bits here. So I'm heavy in this portion. From there to there. Continue this around. From here. And all the way down. And then, I'm going to make this tangential at 30 degrees there. And then at 30 degrees here. And there you have the curve completed, okay? Now you do not have to put in hidden detail inside in here. Now that was quite a tricky question, especially when you got onto the curved portion of it, okay? So that there is the axonometric question from 2019, the junior cert higher level question. So I hope you found that helpful, guys. That's the question completed.